This Week with Bob Mueller on News 2.
This week,
What do we want? Public education! What do we want? Public education!
protests, teachers, students, and parents gathered to say no to the governor's proposed statewide school voucher plan.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
The educators were joined by faith, labor, and community leaders who also rallied against the voucher program.
TikTok is a threat to our national security.
Could it be the end of TikTok? The Senate will make the next move.
People have to decide, do I want to live under Biden's America or do I want to go back to Trump's America?
The rematch few wanted is on Biden-Trump 2 next November. To the winner goes the White House.
Our resources that we have here are finite.
Tennessee Republicans say falling state revenues will not allow for the removal of the sales tax on food as they move forward with cutting the franchise business tax. Hello again and welcome to another edition of This Week. The Biden-Trump rematch is set. Protesters gather in opposition to the governor's school voucher plan. No to removing the sales tax on food, but yes to cutting the business franchise tax. We begin, though, with a possible ban of TikTok.
The rules are suspended. The bill is passed.
Today, one step closer to a TikTok shutdown.
TikTok is a threat to our national security.
This morning, the House overwhelmingly passing a bill that would ban TikTok if its parent company ByteDance does not sell the app in the next 6 months.
This is not an attempt to ban TikTok. It's an attempt to make TikTok better. Tic-tac-toe, a winner.
The app has about 170 million users in the United States. That's more than half the American population.
I use TikTok a lot.
It kind of just keeps me informed.
It helps me be aware of more activism as well as issues going on in the community.
Lawmakers on Capitol Hill say their issue is not with TikTok. They say they're concerned about ByteDance, a company in China, and its ties to the Chinese government. Lawmakers say ByteDance could share user data with the Chinese government, and China could control what Americans see and do not see on their phones.
TikTok is owned by ByteDance. ByteDance is in China, and when you're in China, you have to do whatever the Chinese Communist Party says you have to do.
A TikTok spokesperson says they have never shared user information with the Chinese government.
This is a Pandora's box. What's to stop Congress or the United States government in the future from forcing the sale of another social media company, claiming that it's protecting Americans' data from foreign adversaries?
The bill now goes to the Senate. If it passes there, it heads to the president to sign into law.
If they pass it, I'll sign it.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he will review the bill. He has not committed to putting up for a vote just yet. Top Senate intelligence leaders are pushing for a vote, citing the national security threats. Perry Russum, ABC News, Washington.
But while lawmakers say TikTok is a threat to national security, Nashville Creators say the ban is a threat to their livelihoods. Adam Mincer reports.
Nowadays, a lot of the new sounds in Music City don't start here, but here. Nashville singers and songwriters say TikTok changed how they get noticed.
TikTok is a major player in that content, music, artist area.
And changed how they find their fans.
And you have the chance to go viral overnight, pretty much. It's really tough because you have to just do it consistently.
Hit a couple potholes so I can realign my spine.
Colin and his creative partner Austin have seen that firsthand.
Welcome to Nashville, man. What a great day.
This video amassed almost 1 million views on TikTok, giving them new followers and dedicated fans. But this one app isn't their sole focus.
Colin and I are trying to spread joy through our videos and make people smile in a world that's just a little too dark. And we use every platform we can to do that.
If you've ever had a mood swing, this one's for you.
Nashville singer-songwriter Emma Klein has 124,000 followers on the social platform and says while TikTok can be a major source of income for influencers, it isn't always predictable.
There's not always translation between TikTok views and Spotify streams. Sometimes there is, sometimes there isn't. It's kind of like the Wild West, and it always has been.
But she says no matter what politicians decide, there may be some growing pains. But artists will do what they do best, adapt.
It's going to ring as true as ever before that the most important thing is you connecting with real people focusing in on fans making real fans.
Fans that she hopes will follow their favorite artists no matter where they're posting. In Nashville, Adam Mintzer, News 2.
Republican leadership pushed the voucher bill through a key committee last week. State Capitol reporter Chris O'Brien brings us inside the House rules, which raises new questions over how Republican leadership is barreling the voucher bill toward passage.
The Education Freedom Voucher Bill to send public tax dollars to private school families is steamrolling ahead. The House Education Administration Committee saw several Republicans cross party lines and vote against it with every Democrat last week, but it's still pushed through by a vote of 12-7. But there's questions over whether the vote should have even happened.
I think they're afraid they don't have the votes. I think they're afraid that the more information and the more truth comes out about this proposal, the more apparent it becomes to Tennesseans that it's a bad idea.
When a lawmaker feels there has been enough debate on a particular bill, they call for the previous question. If any lawmakers object, they take a vote to cut off debate or keep it going. According to the House rules for this General Assembly, the previous question shall only be admitted when demanded by 2/3 of the members present. And those same rules apply to committees. But when lawmakers in the House Education Administration Committee called for the question on the voucher scholarship bill, it fell just short of the 2/3 it needed.
Mr. Chairman, you have 12 ayes and 7 noes.
The ayes have it. The question's been called for.
But since no member objected, it passed unscathed.
I don't think anybody caught it till after the fact. Once it's gavelled out, it's gone.
A move that frustrated Democrats.
You would hope that they would undo that and do it the right way.
Though Speaker of the House Cameron Sexton pointed out, no Democrats made a move to send it back to committee during last week's House floor session.
And no one made a motion today to send it back, so supposedly the other side of the aisle was going to do it, but I guess they chose not to.
In Nashville, Chris O'Brien.
As Tennessee moves further and further into a conservative sphere, Democrats got a rare win when a bill surrounding driver's licenses failed.
In a bit of a shock to lawmakers on both sides of the aisle, a bill to require the Department of Safety and Homeland Security to only give written driver license tests in English died Wednesday.
I was pleasantly surprised. I was very nervous about that bill. I'm very opposed to that bill.
Over the last 3 years, Tennessee administered over 12,000 tests in German, Japanese, Korean, and Spanish. This bill would have prevented that, but the sponsor pulled it Wednesday.
It just didn't have support to pass. Of course, I thought it was a good bill.
The bill also would have prevented any sort of translator from being present during a test, too.
If people are driving on our streets, they should be able to read our road signs.
But Democrats labeled the bill as a clearly racist attack on non-native citizens.
Oh, there's a huge difference between the simplistic, single word or maybe, 3 or 4 word comprehension you have to have for something like a sign or, emergency messages.
The bill would have cost the state at least $50,000 a year. And Nashville Democratic Senator Heidi Campbell pointed out Tennessee is bringing in several major companies from overseas like Nissan or Volkswagen.
Are we saying to those people who are coming over here that we expect them to instantly know our language? Are we really turning away those workforce opportunities? I mean, that's a bad decision even from a financial perspective.
Still, Hohenwald Republican Senator Joey Hensley contends the move was not racist.
It's certainly not that, because there's many other languages in the world that we don't accommodate. We just accommodate 4 languages. So to me, that is discriminating against all the other people that speak other languages that we don't accommodate.
In Nashville, Chris O'Brien.
Now to our This Week cover story. Tennessee Republicans blame a decline in state revenues for saying no to removing the sales tax on food, but are still able to cut the state franchise tax. State Capitol reporter Chris O'Brien explores the move.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion at this time for a neutral recommendation.
It's a move that hasn't been seen in years.
We're not going to support a bait and switch because this particular bill that we gave a neutral recommendation reduces tax on one side and then raises taxes significantly on the other. So thus a neutral recommendation out of GovOps.
When the House Government Operations Committee took up the bill to eliminate the food tax in Tennessee, they moved for a rare neutral recommendation. The bill would drop the food tax, but increase taxes for businesses who gross at least $250,000 a year.
I think what we're seeing is this policy is widely popular across Tennessee. People have been showing up at their grocery stores, asking community members to sign petitions to end the grocery tax, and I think Leader Lamberth and Republican leadership don't want to take a stand on it, so instead they remain neutral, which I'll take it.
The move comes as the Senate technically kept the bill alive Tuesday, though Republicans gave it a negative recommendation in a finance subcommittee.
Well, it's a shame. We've got a lot of energy for giving $1.6 billion away this year for corporations to do what they want and ask for what they want.
Nashville Democratic Senator Charlene Oliver is referencing a separate bill that lawmakers in the committee gave a positive recommendation. It'll essentially provide a large tax cut or rebate for corporations across the state. Democrats say they'd rather see that money go toward cutting the food tax.
The corporations that are coming to Tennessee are coming here for one reason, or for the most part one reason, and that's because we're a business-friendly environment.
Lawmakers will still debate the food tax bill in the full Senate Finance Committee, but a negative recommendation is essentially a death sentence moving forward. Republicans say the budget simply isn't there for the cut this year.
Our resources that we have here are finite, and there's only so for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
In Nashville, Chris O'Brien.
Stay with us. This week continues in a moment.